answered all these questions in the past about him. But how did I was reading that you actually found out about him from Gene Blameyer, or you
Yeah,
about
yeah.
him?
It was, well, I didn't, when I had recruited Kyle Wiltshire for years and years, since Kyle was like a sophomore, ninth grader, so, like, you know. So I'd been to so many Jesuit things, and so I'd seen Jeff. But the thing about Jesuit, they had so many good players that Jeff almost blended in. You know, you just couldn't. But I always knew he was a tough kid. He was the quarterback of the football team, and he could make shots. And so when Gene had mentioned him to me, I was like, "Oh yeah, I know Jeff. I watched him." And he told me about his connection with his grandfather, and you know, he said, "Hey, if you'd be interested, the kid, I think maybe would want to walk on." And so that's how we jumped on it. And called a good friend of mine, who's a high school coach at was assistant at Westview High School. I said, "What do you think about Jeff?" His name's Mark Stone, and he said, "Oh, he'd be great. He'd be terrific." And so that's kind of the rest is history. And then, you know, when I brought Jeff in, you know, I never really one of the important things for me is I never want to overpromise something, and so I almost painted a dim picture, like you may never get on the floor here, and we're going to the Mountain West, and we got to get high-level players, and you know, I didn't want to overpromise and under-deliver, and didn't scare him off a bit. He just kept working harder and harder and harder, and I guess as Joe Craven said, "I'm dumb, but I'm not that dumb," so I had to get him out there.
I was trying to think of the timing. Was that before your first season, or was that after your?
It was right when I got here.
Okay.
Was when we brought him in.
Okay.
Yeah, he came in with that first class. You know, Ryan and Thomas and Jeff.
How much better has he gotten, man? But how? I mean, how did no one recruit him at all? I mean, how was he not? Did he? At the time, did he not sure he was wanting to play basketball in college? Or what was
Well, you know, it's a big part of why I schedule Corbin and Simpson and Walla Walla is because none of those guys recruit him. Jeff wants to get back at him.
I mean, how's that possible, though?
I think a big part of it was how good of teammates he had. I mean, you look at his team; he had all kinds of, you know, Stephen Holt, kid that went to Santa Clara, kid that went to Gonzaga, Mike Hart, Kyle Wiltshire went to Kentucky and then back to Gonzaga. You know, and it's just there's just tons of good players, and so on a team like that, you can miss the glue guy, and that's probably what happened.
You coached a lot of good three-point shooters before. Where's he ranking? I mean, is he one of the better three-point shooters you've ever coached?
Well, there's a superstition to this question that I have to avoid. Maybe after he's done playing, I'll answer that question. But you know, I think a real good sign of a great shooter is, boy, I think everybody in the gym's surprised if he has an open look and he misses it. And you know, he's definitely up there.
When did you realize that he could play at this level for you? I mean, was it pretty early, or did it take a little while?
Well, you know, we started off really, really good that first year, and then we went into a bit of a slump where we kind of had a lot of athletes out there, but maybe no shooters. And so we were looking, you know, after that Utah State loss, we got to make some changes. We got to get another shooter out there at least. And, you know, that's kind of led us to Jeff. And I just remember the night before that game, that first start that we gave him is, you know, we wrote the starting lineup on the board, and I turned around and he was pale. And I said, "You gonna be okay, Jeff?" And he said, "Well, I think I just had an accident in my pants. I'll be all right tomorrow." And sure enough, he was. He's just, you know, it's a great story for young kids that, you know, that think coaches have to hand them stuff, and that think that they're owed stuff, and I deserve to play. And this, you know, it's just a story about a kid who just dug his heels in and worked and just fought his way into everything he's got. And so I'm really proud of Jeff for that. And you know, it's a great example for a lot of people.
How do you think? Obviously, you know, he's leading the country, I think, in threes per game. I mean, at some point, teams are going to do whatever they can to stop him. I know you have other options, so obviously that can benefit you also. With you, how do you find ways to keep getting him shots as the defense probably gets tighter?
Well, you know, hopefully we can make it into a choose your poison kind of situation. If you want to face guard him, well, we've got some other guys that, and it's going to create some situations where we can get to the rim more. And, you know, we have a saying around our program, love the rim like the three. And, you know, I think we have a tendency, or human nature, and almost every player has a tendency to love the three like the rim. And now if you want to extend on Jeff, it's going to open up the rim for us even more. So I think that's an important factor.
What was your first reaction when you met Jeff or saw Jeff, and how nice is it? You know, you go out and you recruit guys like Anthony, you go all the way to Australia for him, and you have a guy like Jeff just kind of seemingly almost fall into your lap.
Well, I'm not sure he fell into our lap, but it's
I guess I just mean
yeah.
you didn't have to put him on scholarship initially.
Yeah, what I think the important thing there is that Jeff stood for everything we want to be about when we got here. You know, you want hard work, you want great team players, you want quality kids, great students, all those things that we want as a coach and for our program. And so, you know, I even told this to the team. I said, I'm a hypocrite if I don't put him on scholarship, and that's when we put him on scholarship. And you know, but again, it goes back to Jeff earning it, and he earned everything he's got, and that's, you know, that's kind of, I think, our team's personality is that, you know, even the higher level, quote unquote, higher level recruits, they've developed themselves, and we've developed ourselves as a team to, that's kind of who we are, blue collar mentality, where we've earned everything we've got. We got a lot of things we have to still earn.